Hi everybody, my name is Alex Johnson. I'm a systems engineer from Pure Storage, and I'd just like to run through with you today a very brief video on how we integrate with CommVault Simpana's new IntelliSnap functionality for Pure Storage. This is using IntelliSnap from Simpana 10 update 11, which is the early release version. First thing we want to do is we want to see how the array is configured. If we look here, I've already got an array that's been set up within array management. The key here is everything else is pretty straightforward. Select the snap vendor, select the host name or IP address, select the user credentials that we're going to have, and when we go to put in the password field, we actually have to drop into the array itself. So on the array itself, to get that API token, we go to the System tab, Users, API Tokens, select the user that we are using, and Show API Token. We can then copy that alphanumeric number and put that into the password field on the array management. The other important part of the configuration is adding in the storage policy. So the other aspect that is important is the storage policy. If we look at the storage policies that we've already pre-configured a policy for Pure Storage Snap. I won't go through how we configure this. This is reasonably standard, and if you're familiar with Simpana, you should know how to set this up already. On our client computers, I have a number here set up already. The one that we want to use today is the Wanganui client. So I've got the file system agent, the SQL Server agent, or iData agent, and the virtual server iData agent also. As part of the backing up a SQL environment, we need the file system agent to back up all the appropriate files. We also need the VSS provider. So when you go to do your install, make sure that you put those things in when you install your iData agents. So first thing we want to do is have a look here. So the environment that we want to back up is this SQL server here. Within Simpana, we have the ability to back up subclients. And this is the subclient Wanganui that's running AdventureWorks database using the Pure Storage Snap policy. So what I want to do is go in here and do a backup. There's three different ways that we can do this backup using a full, so that's a point in time full system copy of the backup. It's in a consistent state. Then there's the transaction log backup, where we're just backing up the transaction logs so that we can recover back to a point in time, or the differential backup, which is the difference between where we are now and when the last full system backup was. So the CommVault's suggested course of action for the first backup is to do a full system backup and start a log backup after the successful backup. None of these other tabs are required for this particular example. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. I'm going to start it immediately, and you'll see that we're kicking in. We're already 10% of the way in. This is an important number to take note of. This is our job ID, and I'll show you why that's important when we get to log on to the array and see what's going on. The snapshot's already achieved 95%, so we should see this pretty quickly move to 100%, and now we're starting the transaction log backup, which is again pretty straightforward. It's quite key to understand that the best practice for setting that up on the array or on the guest itself is using an RDM so that we can recover those files or file systems. So if I look at the backup, we're 100% complete. Job 3184 and 3185. Drop back into here. So we've got a complete, consistent backup. We can see the AdventureWorks database is there. Within the AdventureWorks database, if we have a look at the properties of this database, we can see that the files are sitting on the E drive. So the path is EADVWorks for our AdventureWorks. And if I accidentally delete that database, it's going to go away. So the database is no longer mapped into SQL Server. I can have a look at the SQL RDM, ADVWorks, and it's gone. Oh dear, what are we to do? So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go back over to here. We're going to select our subclient. And if we have a look at the snaps that are associated with that subclient, we can see the jobs that we talked about down here. 3184 is the last job ID associated. If I look at the array itself, to the volumes associated with the array, those volumes are on this SQL RDM. And if I look at snapshots, I can see that the associated snapshot number is this one. So I can recover from here. If I look at the data store that the SQL Server is running on, it's a different snapshot that was taken at a different time that I can recover from. Just to show you the difference between that and what happens when you take a snapshot on the array itself. The array itself is also recording a job number, but calling it local backup. So quite different. That allows you to easily understand that these are Simpana jobs versus snaps here. Whilst we're talking about it, I can show you using the Pure Storage plugin that I can also log into the array. I can see the dashboard here. I can see the data stores, and should I choose to, I can use the array functionality to create and manage snapshots. But we're here to talk about Simpana. So I can now go back to my subclient and browse and restore. If I listed snaps, I'd have the same kind of functionality, but I'm going to browse and restore. I'm going to select that database and I'm going to recover it. These are the files that I want to recover. I actually want to do an unconditional overwrite of the existing database or files. So this is going to restore it back to that point in time. I select that, I select OK, and the process starts. So the restore process is running still. It should only take a couple of minutes. It's a very, very quick process. And most of the under the covers work that is happening here is happening as on the ESX host, doing the file system recovery. So the job is now complete, 100% complete. I can do a quick check over here of my E drive, where my RDMs are located. I can see that the database is there. So then I can go into the SQL Server, I can connect, I can check, and my AdventureWorks database is back. Thank you for watching. I hope you found that useful. You can find me on Twitter and the Kiwi Storage Guy, or heisenberg@purestorage.com, or alex.johnson@purestorage.com. Have a great day.